We're going to be thinking about developing good writing habits and also breaking writing blocks. I once conducted a piece of research and one of my respondents said, I don't believe in writing blocks. Well, I've had lots of writing blocks, so I'm pleased he has never had a writing block. And I don't know whether you've had any or not, but should you come across one, I think some of the things that I'm going to share from research and talking to other people might help you with that. So, good writing habits. Where do you write well? When do you write well? If you know yourself, you will be able to, I hope, find the right place to sit and write, and also to put writing into some kind of timetable so that you prioritize it and it doesn't get swamped by absolutely everything else. And carve out writing time when you are also alert. So many people write actually in the middle of the night. And when I've done little tests with groups, about just under half the group will write in the middle of the night when everyone else is asleep. And just under half the group will get up really early and write before they have to go to work or start the dinner or take the kids to school or whatever. And out of a group of 24, there'll always be one person who really likes working in the main body of the day. And that's probably because they can only work in their office and if they're not being disturbed. So find when your best writing time is and try and write in that time, when you're most alert, most focused, fewer interruptions, in a comfortable spot. So the next question is, where do you like writing best? I can't write facing a brick wall. I can do short bursts of writing almost anywhere. But if I'm going to be working using books and writing and going back to things and it's going to be perhaps half a day, I'm going to be doing some writing, I'd like a good view and I'd like it to be comfortable and I need access to snacks and access to the opportunity to get out of the house a bit so that I can free up the thinking that goes into the writing. So find where you write well and when you write well and capitalize on that and do time manage it so that you prioritize it. There's also various processes and thoughts about breaking writing blocks and using the time well. Rowena Murray has got a really good process and it's called snack and binge writing. She says that most of us think that we need a long period of 6 weeks to get on with this chapter or get on with making the whole piece coherent or writing that article. And maybe you do if you want to finish things off and you want them to be totally coherent. I would recommend having a long period of time, a full day, so that you can go backwards and forwards through an article or through a chapter to make sure it is coherent and you haven't repeated yourself. And the question that you asked at the beginning is being answered during the text and finished off at the end. But I can only binge write when I've got the time to do it. And I really only want to binge write when I want to ensure that kind of coherence. One of the things that's worked well for me is snack writing. And that is to make a list in the morning or the beginning of the week of small bits of work that need to be done. I need to finish that paragraph off. I need to work that idea through. I need to comment on that piece of reading that I've done. I need to move some sections around and I'm not actually sure where they're going to go yet. And if I put that down in a list, then when I've got 10, 15 minutes, I'm waiting for something perhaps, or I've just done another task, or I've come off an online call, I can turn to that list and pick one of them off and get it done. So even in a day when I haven't really done any writing, I'll have done a little bit of snacking and I'll have moved on a bit. So how else can we break writing blocks? Because that's really about planning and using the time. Me and a colleague undertook some research a few years ago and interviewed academics who write and asked them how they broke writing blocks. And many things emerged. One is about not sticking to having to do some formal writing, but doing free writing. And the origin of that is somebody called Elbow. And I use the term splurge. And I free write first thing in the morning. And I don't actually write anymore. I talk into an AI. I talk into my phone and it just transcribes it all. Some of the words aren't quite right. I come back to it and there's a whole load of text. That was wonderful. My cleverest writing thinking and my best expression is first thing in the morning. So I've caught that. I've got some words. I can work with them later. And I've done that, hopefully, before I've looked at the first email. So free writing, write on anything, and you can then start to form it into a good piece of argumentative writing. Or work out a complex idea, perhaps using quite clever words or sometimes using simple words that you can replace later, but capture it, because it might not happen again. And once the whole day gets going, it's certainly going to be too intrusive. So free writing, writing with other people. Many people set up writing groups, and the mere fact that there's others writing this afternoon with you, or at a writing retreat, which is ideal, but maybe just writing on Wednesday afternoons for a couple of hours, will give you the momentum and the collegiality, and maybe you look at each other's work. And that kind of community writing, where you're writing about different things, but you are keeping each other going, will enable you to get to the end of it and hand it in and publish it. So that kind of community collegiality. And from that comes the critical friend idea. So sometimes it's a good idea to share your writing with a critical friend. I mean a friend and not an enemy, but somebody who will actually support and help your writing come out sounding and looking better by making comments about what they like, about how something might be a bit clearer. You will get that from a supervisor, you will get that from an editor, but if you get it from a consistent critical friend, you now are starting to work together, understand each other's processes, and benefit from that collegiality. Lots of people finish PhDs, and lots of people finish books and articles because they've got a critical friend with mutual help. Some of the other things that came out of actually interviewing people I found really revelatory, because these are perhaps the ones I've just shared, quite normal ones. And one of them is called managing the writing energy. So somebody I interviewed said, I only have so much writing energy, and if I give it away on bureaucratic documents, then it's gone. I thought, how true. Very interesting. I've looked at that. And really he was talking about writing when his writing energy was at its highest, which for him was first thing in the morning when he got into work. So he'd get into work earlier and he'd do some writing before he opened the email. So he was managing his writing energy and not giving it away to something he would have to give it away to later on in the day, the emails, the bureaucratic documents, the answering of the phone calls. When you know you have the writing energy and you've thought about it first thing in the morning, etc., harness it, use it, make sure you make it work for you when your head is really clear. And the other main thing that came out of this management idea is multitasking. Ferenc Marton, who is a Swedish theorist and teacher, interviewed Nobel Prize winners and asked them when and where they wrote best. And none of them said, at my desk all day, solidly. They all said, I had my great thoughts and some of the ways I could express them when I walked around a park, when I was out in the open air, when I was sitting somewhere looking at something beautiful. If it works for them, it can work for you. And I've certainly found that it's helped me. So when I get stuck in my writing, I go for a walk. I take the dog. I don't have to go very far sometimes till I've solved that problem of where to put that piece. Why is that so unclear? Do I understand it or not? Why do I feel this is a bit rubbish? But sometimes it takes me 20 minutes to get there. But I'll come back and I'll take that multitasking activity. I did something else instead of writing it straight back into the writing. You don't have to go for a walk. You might be able to do a chore if you're working from home, or a work chore if you're working from work. So sometimes when I get stuck in my writing, I'll go and chop up the lunch, even though it's in the middle of the morning. And what happens is my brain drains from this terribly tight focus, and some clarity about the specific issues I've got in my writing comes to the fore, and then I can go back and fix them. So critical work, critical friends, community writing, breaking writing blocks, knowing when to write, knowing where to write, managing your writing energy, multitasking, and I bet you've got some others. So whatever works for you, you will find that this will help your writing have some kind of continuity and rhythm to it, and you'll complete things.